All right, thank you very much. We are back again with the part two and the concluded part of this beginner's course into Dynamics 365 feed service application. Thank you if you have seen the part one. Thank you very much. And if you have subscribed, I also thank you. So in the part two of the video, which is a series, we'll be looking at the demo section, real life practical approach into how a fee service administrator, fee service developer, fee service user, support person would normally make use of the fee service application into the inner working. We're looking into the inner workings of the fee service application in general. I remain a female year global CRM consultant and yeah, senior specialist by platform developer as well. So thank you very much, and yeah, let's get into it. And so we'll be logging into our fee service application here, so we can see exactly how this works. So just bear with me. Okay, so this is the landing page of the fee service application. Uh, so you'll see the interface, the look and feel. It's very rich. It's very optimized, responsive, user friendly. It's very easy to navigate. To be fair, so we talked about the feed service life cycle. We talked about where the demand comes in, the incident comes in, and the first stage of that would be to create the work order. And once the work order is created, we want to schedule that work order, um, and then do that on the schedule board, and then dispatch it to a resource, and that resource goes to the location, the customer's location, fulfills the work order. Once that work order is fulfilled, the status of that work order is marked as completed. And once it's marked as completed, the back office staff or the system manager, whoever it is that's in charge of that service delivery, you know, reviews it, approves the work, contacts the customer, ensures that everything is working fine, and that an invoice is sent across to the customer, and the customer, pays for that, and billing takes place basically. So we'll be looking at these today just to see how things work. So the first thing we want to do is to go into the scheduling section here. You can see there are different navigation area: the scheduling section, the customer section, the service delivery section, the asset information, and then we'll see the, the interface. So the first thing we want to do is to create a work order. So this is the legacy work order form. So we have so we need to create the service account. The service account, remember, it's the customer itself. So let's say we are creating a new customer, and that customer would be, yeah, would be Paul, Jeremy, or Jeremiah. Yeah, we might want to have a primary contact person. So who is the person that is responsible for these? So let's create primary contact person. Let's just call Faith, Faith Gift. And the job title of that person would be uh, personal assistant. And yeah, probably get the information of that person and whatever it is. So Faith is the contact person of that customer, and the name of the customer could be Jeremiah, or we can use an organization. We can say ABC Travels Limited. That's our customer, and this is the contact person. The mobile device, you can see +44. Let's put something in there. The service territory, remember I told you was the location where the service is taking place. We can leave all of this for now. We can just give it our address, service address. We could put a postcode. See, specific that. Anyways, let's just create the customer information here. So you can see the customer information has been created. So we have captured that on the work order. So remember I told you the billing account can also be the service account. The difference between the two is that the service account is where the service, the job is going to be done. The billing account is where payments, ideally will take place from. You know how a customer, you can be a customer, you can have an office location, you can also have your house where you, if for a company, depends, right? Where the job is going to be done might be different from where the payment is going to come from. And here you can see the customer details, the person, the contact person, and so forth and so on. You can see here we've got the work order type, right? That's the required information. You need to tell them what type of work order. So let's see. I hope this doesn't go out. Okay, that's fine. What type of work order is this? Uh, we can call this routine repair or routine maintenance, uh, bi-weekly maintenance, bi-weekly routine maintenance. That's type of repair job. That's a work order type here. And the price list, remember the price list is very important. This a list that captures all the prices of the information, like the product, the service, and things like that, what you are charging, the charge information. So for now, we'll leave this. We can change this later. And summary of the work order. What do you want to be summary of the job? For example, needs two technicians to visit and access the generator. Yeah, or the 4K generator. That's fine. Primary incident type, very important. We want to, what type of incident is it, right? We can specify that. But for now, let's just create our work order. So the work order has been created. You can see setting the work order number for us to see. You can see the status of the work order is unscheduled. So initially, when the work order is created, the status would be open unscheduled, basically, because it's basically open. That job is open. We have not booked that. We have not dispatched it. We have not booked a resource on it, right? The next thing we want to do, we probably want to look at this price list, right? So we'll just open that price list and give it a rename and call this ABC price list. Price list can have, and they can set the start date of the price list to be this, and the end date to be this. Just something. ABC price list. I'll have the price list item. Basically, you can specify some items in there. Um, for example, we can specify products if we have one, test products. Uh, could say that we need to specify the amount. Uh, for example, test products cost £1,000. So yeah, so we have added the products in here, and then we just save and close. Yeah, that has been done. So we want to create an incident. So the incident type is the type of incident that has occurred that you want to go perform. We could call this since it's a generator, we could call this um failure in the or fails. Think you can just call it anything, whatever you want. Do you want it to be associated to your default work order type? Depends on you. Copy incident items to the agreement. Depends on you. The duration of that work order. Let's just go. That's just the estimated duration. You can set the estimated duration during 30 minutes. You can set a product to that. So just create this so that anytime you pick this information, it just picks that product. Um, yeah, fortunately, you might have to struggle with this. We can call this let's just call this product one, and the product will actually be what filter uh inventory products product ID field 101. Let's call this default group. You could just call this. Okay, it's fine. Let's see what close. What is this? Quantity, let's put it up to. Okay, so we have added the products to that. We can add a service as well. We just create a service. Uh, service one. And then we can just create a service. What service? For um, yeah, we can just go to service. Can, yeah, just close. No, where is the service? Let's go back to the service. I think something is missing. The integration of the service. Let's say it's for 15 minutes. And we can just save and close. So we know what that service is. Then we have the service task as well. So this is where your inspections will be linked to. Yeah, if you want to get that done, you can do that. You can add the characteristics and things like that. Anyways, let's just save and close. And we can go back to the work order. I'll save and close. Let's just take us to the work order. Okay, I believe we are making progress. Yeah, making progress. Yeah, let's just duplicate this tab and see what's yeah. So that has been opened. So we just set the primary incident type against that, and you can see it has set the estimated um, duration that's speaking from the service. You already saw that. So we want to save that information. You want to look at the settings, right? The priority. So by default, we have some priority values already in there. So we probably want to set as a high. This is work location, you have the currency, you have the instructions. You can set all of this information. Then you have the preference field, time for promise, the time to promise, the time window start, the time window end. Basically, uh, the time window starts and the time window ends. Basically, what time that job uh, is going to be performed. That the window of the job, basically, if you have agreed a job, a repair job or a routine work for a particular time with a customer, you want to specify that, right? And the time for promise is the time you have promised, with the customer that the technician will be at the location the time to promise as well is the time to that job basically. Then obviously you can relate this work order to an agreement. You can relate it to an opportunity, to a case. Remember, I said that directly from the case, you can create a work order, same from opportunity and the same for an agreement. But we're not going to into those details now. So we have seen the product has been linked. So right here, you can see the product value is 0 because that is still an estimated value, you know. So quantity to 0, even though we have set the product to be 1,000. We can look at the service as well. You can see service is 0. Let's just go into that service and see what's the we want to sell it unit cost of the service to be £50, right? As- Okay, the actual cost or set that if there's any commission or additional cost, we can set those information. So we want to save and close, basically. All right, so we've got the general information, we've got it set, we've got everything set out, got the location. If there's an address on that particular customer. So for example, this is the customer service account. If we set the address here, that will obviously be picked up. And that is what we are going to be using when we're booking the technician to go and attend to that job. Uh, something, no, I don't want to use that. Probably nine, let's see that. Hmm, so I could just pick something here and set that as the address. Okay, so you can see the location, you know, you just need to geocode that information. But it's not picking it yet because, yeah, that's not available at the moment because I'm not currently in the United States. So what, yeah, that will get picked up when we are doing the booking. The record log will show you who has created this work order, who made changes to it, who is the owner of the work order, the first arrival time, completion on, completed on things. This basically is a log information that helps to keep details about that particular work order. You can see it unlocked, you can modify them. The ones that are still open are the ones that has not been completed. Now, this is the first stage of the work order. The job has been created. So what do? We head down to the system loading. Just to duplicate this. Yeah, some applications. We will get through it together. So we are going to head straight down to the schedule board. Now remember, in field service, we made mention about resource requirement. We made mention about booking. Now, the resource requirement, remember, I told you the requirement that are needed are required to fulfill that particular job. So do you need a resource that is skilled? Do you need, what products you need, things you need to fulfill that job? That's the resource requirement. So in this instance, when a work order is created, this in turn creates for you a resource requirement. There's a plugin, fit service plugin. We'll get to all of this in a more advanced section. But this creates the resource requirement. So this is what a resource requirement looks like. It's the information about what you need to fulfill this job. Who is the, what is the, or who is the resource that needs to do this? So if you are booking a resource to go and fulfill a job for a generator repair, that particular technician needs to have the skill to fulfill that job. You don't want to send a plumber to go and do the work of a mechanic, a generator mechanic, the characteristics. We need to specify those things. Obviously, these are not specified from the resource requirement. These are specified. You should have already set up the bookable resource. So one thing we could do in here, but what I was trying to show to you is that once that work order is created, the system automatically generates the resource requirement because this is what you're going to use to fulfill that particular job. What we could quickly do is to go to bookings. So currently I have no booking in this environment, so I just create a booking. Yeah, as a user, I can just make myself. Yeah, I could leave it at GMT +1. I'll just save it. Scheduling. Yeah, you can put resource address or organizational unit, depends. Yes. Yep, let's just discard this and get this get this sorted quickly. Uh, that's fine. When you save it, you need the scheduling parameters, the latitude and the longitude. Might be tempted to go into this and try to get the location, the longitude and the latitude from in here. Let me see if I can pull this once again. Yeah, I can't put this information. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Okay, so I've set the organization needs. Uh, Basically, this is the setup. What is the rate? Let's assume I'm being charged if 500, 150 pounds per hour. Want to set the characteristics in here. What should be the characteristics? Oh, God, no. Okay. Uh, so I'm a generator repair guy. I can call this like a skill. So I have a skill to repair generators. Value, let's say it's very good or excellent, whatever it is. Let's just leave that. So it has the characteristics. You can see I want it to be available on the feed service mobile. So basically, if you set this to yes, it means you are able to use the feed service mobile. You can set the warehouse if there is any uh, product available on the warehouse, like the filter itself. You can set that. And yeah, let's just save that information and look at information about the work hour. We can set the work hour of that resource. Let's see for now. So the resource is working. Let's just set this event and see. You can set the work hour calendar. Uh, we could set this to be 11:30 p.m. And let's say it works all day. Prefer possible conflict. Yeah, that's fine. Let's just override that. So we have this information. Everything is set. We are good to go. So now that we have set up the bookable resource, we can pull back here and on the schedule board, on the schedule board, we can see that job is available. We can see the priority of the job. It says high. Come on, let's just go back to the work order. You can see the work order status still on schedule. So it is open on schedule because it has not been scheduled. Now, directly on the schedule board, we talked about scheduling method, the resource scheduling optimization, the scheduling optimization agents, schedule assistance, the drag and drop. So the drag and drop, I can just drag this to any particular resource. Um, so there is no resource currently available on the schedule board because yeah, I've not got that set up completely. But let's just refresh the schedule board and see what we have at the moment. Good. So now I have a resource available on the schedule board, 0 minutes booked, 0% utilization, totally fine. You can change this from hourly view to daily view to weekly. How do you want it? How do you want it in the resource? So yeah, it all depends on you. So basically, once we set up that user as a bookable resource, that resource becomes available on the schedule board. Once you finish setting up the work order, that work order becomes available. You can see the duration, you can see the priority. So I will just drag this to that resource to say, look, you need to perform this job at 1 a.m., and that job is for 30 minutes. So that has been booked for that resource. Once that is done, you can see the booking status. Now, the moment you book that job against that resource, something is generated, and that is called the booking. You know, remember when the work order is created, this generates the requirement, but once you book it, that generates the booking. Remember, I told you the booking is like the document that you take along, that contains everything about that resource that is coming to that location. You can see the status of that job, of that booking is scheduled. You can see the requirement information, you can see the booking type, you can see the arrival time, all this information. Now, what happens? The moment that job was booked, let's go back to the work order and see what the work order status, you know, is. It will have changed. It is now called scheduled. From unscheduled, it becomes what? Scheduled. So you can see it directly from a glance. The work order status becomes scheduled because now that the booking has been scheduled. So this is what happens. This is what happens. This is how you book it on the schedule. And what's the next step here? The resource goes to the location, on the Feed Service mobile. I'm just going to open the Feed Service mobile for us to see quickly. So this is the Feed Service mobile. It will be on the device on their phone where they can make these changes. So the booking is here. The resource or the technician opens up that booking and says, you know what? This has been booked for me. I want to accept this job, if it depends on you if you want to set those status, right? I can set it to in progress, right? And just save it. It means that that resource has gotten to that location and it started the job. The moment they set it to in progress, look at what happened to the work order status. When I refresh this, you see it's now in progress. Now, what happens when the job, just want to say, is in progress? Um, it goes, the resource or the technician goes into that job, fulfills the job. We need more time, to be fair. So, I've just gone ahead to complete this job, basically. So the technician has finished the job. He completes this, and then the back office personnel gets to see this from their end that that job has been completed. You know, they can see information like duration. They can see the total price, cost for that product because that service was £12.50 that is showing there, and the cost of the product itself is not showing because of the issue of warehousing. The warehouse that was selected, there was no product. We didn't have a chance to look into warehousing, so that's something that we will look at in a later video. And then the back office staff basically just fixed it and then completes it as a posted job because that job has been completed. And once that is completed as posted, we then get the invoice generated for it. So let's just see. Give me a minute. So